I want to show you how something amazing looks. 19 years old. Charts, bottoms up.
You sure you don't want any?
Yoder smoker, 1500. Focaccia, Focaccia, for lekker Focaccia, Focaccia. Oh, you're filming already. Hang on a second, before we start, I just want to get this thing sorted out.
Yeah?
Where's your hat?
I don't have one yet.
You can't be on the cowboy show without a hat.
Oh, okay.
You have to get a hat. Go get a hat.
Okay.
So, you managed to get a hat. Alright, cowboy. That's good on. Next thing is mask. Where's your mask?
We live together, right?
No, let's do a mask for you. Let's do a mask for you. You need a mask. Okay, so there's Cowboy's mask. Cowboy's gonna be in the... How's that, Cowboy? So we are doing more of our cooking programs. We've got young Cowboy here. He needs to learn how to do some baking. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna teach you how to bake bread. It's one of the most simple, basic breads, but it is delicious. We are going to make focaccia. If you walk in Venice and you go to little stalls there, they have focaccias that are this big, sliced through the middle, layered with ham, cheese, salami, ham, cheese. You get the idea. You were with me in Venice. It is phenomenal to see. What's that?
It's a, what do you call it? French love kiss.
It's bellissimo.
Bellissimo.
Molto bellissimo. This is a cowboy recipe, so it's very easy to do. You have to remember only two things: 1 and 5. Because either you put in 1 of each or you put 5 in. That's the recipe. Very simple. What goes into the recipe? Obviously, we need to get some yeasties going. To do that, we've got 1 water, 1 or 3 cups of water. Nice and lukewarm water, because you don't want to shock the yeasties into frostbite. It is Canada after all. I'm just going to use some basic instant yeast. You can use Fleischmann's or whatever. You are also going to put some flavor into your bread. You're going to put some thyme, dried thyme. This is done by our locally grown dried herbs from Greenwood Garden Goodies. And you have to come to Greenwood. Oh man, we keep on telling you guys about this place. But I digress. Let's get going. So 1 water, 1 yeasty. We've got 1 herb and 1 cup of olive oil. 1 tablespoon of sugar and 5 cups of flour. General purpose, you can use bread flour, you can use cake flour, doesn't really matter. Depends on how fine you want to go. So the thing you need to remember is 5 cups of flour, everything else gets 1, 1, 1. The process is simple. You get it all together, prime your yeast. Once you can see that they're alive, you put everything together, give it a bit of a kneading. Let it rise for about an hour and a half, depending on how warm it is. And then we're gonna cook it. And I know we haven't done one of these in a long time. They've been asking for it. We're gonna cook this one on a pellet smoker, a Yoder pellet smoker in cast iron, so that you can feel really manly, because you're doing some baking out in the outdoors in the winter in Canada. So stay tuned. I'm gonna do this one quickly, because Cowboy says you're making it too long. We're gonna do this quickly, but we're missing something.
What is that?
How old are you now?
19.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Well, in that case, why are you still here? Go get it.
Go get what?
Go get it. Are you keeping up, Cowboy?
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is good old Cowboy moonshine. Can you see that? You want to zoom in for that? Cherry brandy. We had Oliver Okanagan cherry swimming in this probably for, was it a couple of months?
Yeah.
And then we're repurposing our Franks for it, but because this young fellow just turned, you see, we just if you put your dop in this, nobody will know you're busy dopping, because it looks like a little bit like Worcestershire sauce, isn't it?
Worcestershire.
All right, so there's it Nords for you, there's it Nords for me. Cowboy, happy birthday. 19 years old. George, bottoms up. That's nice, eh? Exactly. Very nice. Want another one? No, let's get some baking going first.
Okay.
So we've got 1 water. Cowboy, this is where B-roll kicks in. We'll be fast. 1 water. 1 tablespoon of our yeasties. But the yeasties are gonna be hungry when they wake up. So to do that, we need 1 tablespoon of sugar to feed our yeast. Let's give it a bit of a stir. For those that's technical, we're rehydrating the yeast. We're giving it some, hang on a second. I forgot to stir the sugar. We're giving it sugar so that when it wakes up, it's got something to munch on. And my water is not too cold, not too hot. You really want to check it's about 18 degrees Celsius so that the yeasts are not being shocked into frostbite when they wake up. 1 cup of olive oil. When you go, and we're going to use this olive oil twice. Half of it's going to go into the dough, half of it's going to go over the dough. 1 tablespoon of salt, but we'll put that in with our flours. This is the only 5 in this whole configuration. Super easy, and just because you're going to work with the dough, you always want a little bit on the side just so that you can roll it properly. Nice chunk of 1 tablespoon of salties in our 5 there. We're gonna put some herbs in. What do you reckon, Cowboy? You want a little bit of herbs? So in this particular case, you can put rosemary is actually the thing we need.
Rosemary.
Yeah.
I have rosemary.
No, it's winter in Canada.
Oh,
So in this case, we're putting some thyme in. That gives you some aromatics. Can you go and get us parmigiano?
Sure
While we keep going here, bring us the parmigiano. Anyway, there you got flours in. 1 salt, 1 thyme. Look at the yeasties. Can you see how happy they are? They're bubbling, they're foaming, frothing. That means yeast is happy. It means they're alive, because if they weren't doing that, they're dead. Don't put them with the flour. So we're gonna put our yeasties in there. As far as our olive oil goes, as I said, this is 1 cup. We're only gonna put a half a cup in here, because the other half we'll add later. This is the most fun part of making bread, is you need to give it love. Okay, so as you can see, this is starting to look a little bit dry. This is the kind of shag when you're over 50. Flour sometimes takes more water, takes less water, depends on what flour you're using. And if you ever watched any of our baking videos that we did with bakers around the world, they will tell you there's one thing a baker does, and he will tell you it's all about the feel. And remember, you can never take away, but you can always add a little more. So I'm just doing a little more moisture to make sure our dough comes together nicely. And once it's coming together, we're going to put it out to pasture so that it can sleep and multiply. Okay, a little bit of extra flour. That should do it. It should make it nice. Okay, I think we've got it really nicely drilled at the moment. My pot is clean. Little bowl. We want it to rise. You need to put it in a place, preferably sunny or where there's a little bit of heat. And then what I usually do is I put a slight bit of olive oil over it so that the dough doesn't dry out while it's rising. And there you go. The good thing is when you're baking, and people don't understand this logic, but when you're baking, it's very much like smoking meat on the outside. You can relax, take your time, because the dough needs to unfold its glutens. Let's have a look. All right, hang a second, I got you one. Right. George, thank you. Let's have a look. That's so lovely. So the idea is really double in size. Can you see when I punch it down? Double in size. That's what we're going for. You want to just give it a little more love, fold it in. Here's our pot. So as I said, another good example today of how to use your Yoder pellet cooker. Half the oil on the bottom of the pan. Okay. Then we put our bread in, punch it down. So your bread is literally gonna suck in all this phenomenal oil. Sometimes it makes it really nice is if you've got some flaky salt. Obviously, you need to have some parmigiano. So we give it a good generous sprinkling of parmigiano on top. Thyme, that's the herb, on top with it. So you can just think how good this is gonna taste. Some technical advice. Because you're cooking in a Dutch oven, it won't be an oven unless you put the lid on. Because what that does is it evenly distributes the heat inside, giving your focaccia, say it?
Focaccia bread?
No, say it. Focaccia.
Focaccia.
See, he can do it. You ready, Cowboy? Did you start the cooker? For those of you that work with Yoders, there's lots of you online, always leaving comments. I'm not going to get into all the details today, but here's an important thing. We've always struggled with our little 1500 actually getting going and moving around, and we've learned one very important lesson. Always clean your ashtray. Take the thing out, get some glovies, don't be scared of the grease and the grime and all the black stuff, and then take your little ashtray, make sure it's clean so that your igniter is clean, gets fresh pellets, because if the igniter is under crap, it won't start. We're 3 igniters in, finally figured that one out. So good tip, top tip from the Cowboys. So we took our top rack off, the 1500, on the thermometers, 300 Fahrenheit. That's what we're going for because we're baking, we're not playing. Make sure your Yoder is clean. I want to show you how something amazing looks. We're about, I would say, what do you reckon, Cowboy? 3/4? 3/4 there. But here's the thing. If you want some Focaccia with nice smoky flavor, then towards the end you're going to take the lid off so that it can get some smoke and some heat and build a really nice crust. But just look at this already. You want to see goodness in a pot? So lid goes off. I want to get that crust on the top, and I also want to get some smoke flavor on that. Yeah, I know it's a pellet grill. It will have smoke flavor, don't worry about it. And just to go with our beautiful, beautiful Focaccia, we have some candied pork belly bites.
Are you done?
Oi, 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 oi. Si, signora. Focaccia, Focaccia, for lekker Focaccia, Focaccia. Oh, you're filming already. Okay. Anyway, here you go. You see how little tiny Focaccia got to become a big bread? That is an Italian Focaccia. In a cast iron pan, in a Yoder smoker, 1500. Okay, Cowboy, none of us can eat bread. We are breadly challenged, gluten intolerantes. So I want you to pass me the camera. Let's put it in perspective. We eat it the way Italiano. We got some good quality olive oil from Kirklandia. Look there. Balsamica Vinegaro Modena, product of Italiano. That's how it goes. Camera, please.
Happy.
Happy, come. Happy. Happy. Ooh. Okay, vertigo. Verdict.
You sure you don't want any?
This is how easy it is to make bread in a Yoder 1500 smoker. It is one of the most traditional recipes. Remember, 5-1-1-1-1. That's how you do it. And there's another episode of the Cowboys. We're having fun cooking. This is my assistant. Did you just have a happy there? No, we need to let people in on this one. Okay, we've been eating some other morsels because we're gluten intolerantes. Look here, guys. This is what the young Cowboy's been stripping away. It is our candied pork belly, and there's not much left at the moment. So that might be the next episode with some Focaccia and a little balsamica vinegare. Thanks for joining us. That's yours. Happy?